Alright guys, so this is a review on writing equivalent fractions using the distributive property. Now you may have seen this if you were in class on Wednesday. This is the first week of school, week 1. And we were talking about using the distributive property. We're going to go ahead and just go through some of these examples real quick, just as a little review, and then we'll jump into the questions in the back. Okay, so let me remind you that area, and this is just our formula, area is length times width. Okay, again, you'll have this on your star reference sheet, so you'll be able to, you don't have to remember this, but just so you know, area is length times width. And again, let me remind everybody that, again, this is in Spanish. This is what we saw in class, and so this is a review, and the material will be in Spanish here. Later material, I'll try to include both. This is just because we're going backwards, kind of a review, and then so you can have it. Again, let me go ahead and write the numbers down. Okay, so let me show you what I just did. So I wrote the formula, and then I added the length and the width, and that you can see right here. Now what they were trying to do is saying writing equivalent expressions was to keep the 5 the same, and then look at the 27. What can you do to split that up in a way that's a little bit easier for you to comprehend? So what they wanted us to do was split it up, and mind you, you can split it up how many ways you want it. This is just, to me, seems like the easier way. 5, and then do a 7 here. Now let me go ahead and show you a different example. Okay, this is another example. Notice how I split the 20 up into 2 10s. So 10 plus 10 plus 7 gives me 27. So it doesn't matter how I split this up, how I split up the length, as long as it's 27. Okay, that's what they're wanting us to do. Okay, and that was basically it. Now let's go ahead and see some other examples. Okay guys, let's go ahead and look at this example at the very end. I don't recall us getting to this example, so this will be a good example to look at. Now, it wants us to decompose this number. Okay, so the 3, that's a really small number, so we don't really have to do anything to that. But 122 can be a little bit intimidating if we look at it. So what we can do is split it up. Now you can split it up different ways, and this I noticed sometimes students have trouble just looking at a number and try to split it up. Well, what I do is I look at the place values. Okay, so this place value tells me, okay, I have a 1 in the 100, so already I know I have 100 in there. Okay, so I have 100, and then I look at the tens place and I see that I also have a 20. Okay, and then I have a 2. And then I try to think about what's a little bit easier for me to multiply instead of doing 3 times 22, right? So if I write 3 times 122, that's a little bit different than if I write 3 times 100, right? Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Okay, this is what I did. I went ahead and separated into 120 times 2. So they want us to write it in the distributive property format. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is go ahead and write my 3. That'll be my A right there. And then my 2 numbers that I'm going to write is 20 plus 2. Again, remember, just a short reminder, remember you can multiply in many different ways. So that's to multiply. 2 times 3 is to multiply. But also if you have 2 and then like parentheses. Okay, just a short reminder. And then this is it. Now what do they, notice what they do to the letters here. Here you have your A and B. Oh, look, it's right there. And this is similar to that. Okay, so it doesn't have, no tiene el multiplication sign, but that's what it's telling you right here. A times B plus A times C. So let's go ahead and write that down. And then it's going to be 3. I'm going to do 120. And then plus 3 and 2. And that'll be, this number represents kind of what this looks like. Okay. And all we did was basically just distribute the 3. Okay, that's why they call it the distributive property. Distribute means to pass out, kind of share out. So we're sharing this 3 when we're multiplying it times these 2 numbers. Okay, so here and then here. Alrighty guys, so for this last part, I'm gonna go ahead and let you work on these problems. And one thing I will remind you, for example, here in this example, you have 10 plus 4. So do not do that first, okay? Because I know a lot of you guys will try to say, oops, sorry about that. Let me see. We'll try to assume, oh, that means 14. Now I just do 14 times everything over here. Okay, that's not going to be it. Okay, so make sure that you're being really careful with that. What you want to do is first do 4 and then distribute the 4s and then distribute it over here to the 20. Okay, then after you finish this, then go ahead and add the 10. Okay, that's just a short little tip. Go ahead and do that for the other problems. You can pause the video here and then click it back when you're ready, and then go ahead and look at your answers. We'll go ahead and share. All right, guys, so we're back. Let's look at number 4 real quick right here. Notice I did 6 times 12, that gives me 72. And then 6 times 4, gives me 24. Now, notice how I'm writing everything under it, okay? I keep my answers lined up. That way I'm not confused when I'm just doing the order of operations. So 96 is my answer. So if you got 96, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. And then next one right here. So notice this is going to be the one that I was telling you about. 4 times 2 first. Okay, I got it right here. And then 4 times 20. So that's what I have right here. Now, we know 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times 20 is 4 times 2. But then you just add a 0 at the end because it's an 80. Or it's a 20, right? And the 0 gives you an 80. And then just add the 10. Again, don't forget, because then at the end, if you forget, your answer's wrong. So 10 plus 8, 18. 18 plus 80, 98. Okay, let's look at the next one. All right, guys, so this will be our last one. 7 times 4, here we go, right there. And then 7 times 19, also right here. And then you get 28 when you multiply 7 times 4, and then you get 133. Just go ahead and add those 2, and you should have gotten 161. All right, guys, that'll be a wrap up for writing equivalent expressions using the distributive property. We're going to keep practicing, so I'll try to add some other questions at the end.